Before you start setting your intentions, goals, and resolutions, it might be helpful for you to take a moment and look back on your year. Doing an annual review allows you to celebrate your wins, which helps in building self-efficacy or the belief that you have in your ability to get things done. And it also helps to counter negative cognition bias, which is this glitch in how we humans tend to remember negative things over positive things. Annual reviews can help you deepen or develop self-awareness and identify patterns in your behavior, which is one of the most interesting things to me given my job as a behavioral scientist and a licensed clinical psychologist that focuses on performance optimization. Sometimes that involves taking a hard look back at what you did or didn't do. Here's one more science-backed reason why I love an annual review. Annual reviews can give you a feeling of closure, and ending one chapter allows you to capitalize on the fresh start effect. The fresh start effect refers to the psychological phenomenon where individuals are more motivated to pursue goals or make positive changes related to a temporal landmark, which is just a fancy way of saying any time where you can identify that a certain time period is ending and a new time is beginning. That could be the beginning of a new month, the beginning of a new week, and for most of us, the beginning of a new year. These time periods can be highly motivating. So doing this annual review and closing out last year and welcoming in next year could help to increase your motivation. All right, enough chit chat, let's hit the Notion template. So here's my annual review for 2024. I'm gonna go ahead and open that up, and this is what my page looks like. For all of my reviews, so for my weekly, monthly, quarterly reviews, I have the same few questions that I ask myself. Here I have a little banner that I made on Canva. The first section in this annual review are my memories, and I gather these memories using two strategies. First, I go through all of my photos, and if you're in the Apple ecosystem, I just type in the year, so 2024, and it'll give me all of the pictures from January till the end of December for that year. I go through and look at all the pictures and kind of refresh my memory of the things that I've done over the last year. Then I open up my calendar, and when I have my pictures and my calendar, I pretty much have a really good idea of how I spent my time over the year. So here I have some pictures. In January, my son went to his first Cowboys game. I started a new job. We did a long road trip through New England so that my son could look at some colleges. And we also did kind of a bookstore tour as we drove up because he's a big fan of manga, and we stopped at different bookstores along the way. There was also a lot of pictures of me either in airport lounges or in airplanes. This has been a year of a lot of travel, especially for my new job. I've been doing a lot of that. So there are a bunch of pictures of me in lounges or in airports. I also decided to catalog all of my clothing, so I have a picture of that here. I'm now a cross-country mom since my son is on the cross-country team in high school, so I have a picture of that here. Some special date nights with my husband, or date days where we took the day off and we just spent the time together. So I put all of that here. I also do a list of things that I did. So here you see that highlighted in blue. Pictures don't fully capture it, so I also wrote the different places where I visited, the different things that I did. These are mostly things that I pulled out of my calendar, but also some descriptions of the photos up above. So I take the time to think about what I did in the last year. Then I looked at how I spent my money over the last year. So that's here in blue. Mostly I spent money on housing. We got new windows for the house. We took a few trips this year, and I've also been spending an unusual amount of money on clothing because I have grown from a size 6 to a size 8 over the last year, and it was kind of like I was thrown off in terms of some of my shopping this year. If you have an app like You Need a Budget, it's really easy to pull up your average spending from month to month. I've only been tracking my spending for the last 90 days, but you can tell here that we spend quite a bit on our mortgage, and then my husband's guilt-free spending, groceries, then my spending, and then you see that there's a breakdown under there of other things like how much money we spend in restaurants a month, how much money we spend on our child other things that I forgot. I have this I forgot category. So a bunch of spending in there. Then the last thing I asked myself is how I felt about the year. So if I look at what I did and how I spent my money, this is more about how I spent my energy and kind of like my life force. I felt really out of control this year, and that was part of the reason why I started a 90-day reset about 90 days ago. I feel like I've been out of control with my schedule and my routine. It started when I moved to the Washington, D.C. area. We are a military family, so we move a lot. We moved about 2.5 years ago. When I moved from Boston to D.C., I had a hard time getting into a new routine. And then my mom passed away about a year ago. We're right around the 1-year anniversary, and kind of everything went to pot. I didn't have a good schedule, a good routine. I definitely wasn't eating right. I wasn't exercising. I became like this person that's very different than how I've been pretty much my entire adult life. I also feel a lot of gratitude. I've just had many moments this year where I've stopped and looked around and said, like, my space is beautiful, my home is beautiful, my family is awesome. And I think that I've really experienced a sense of satisfaction and contentment with my life at home. And that has been really awesome. I've also been really excited about my journey here on YouTube. And sometimes that excitement actually prevents me from moving forward. In thinking about some of the barriers or things that didn't go so well this year, part of it is that I was so excited that sometimes that frenetic energy, I couldn't direct it in a focused way to getting out the next YouTube video. I pick these 3 things to focus on very purposefully. If I know how I spent my time, how I spent my money, and how I spent my energy, I can tell you how I've been living my life this past year. So these 3 things, along with this picture collage, really gives me a good snapshot of my year. So now that I've had that, I'm gonna move on to identifying my life domains. In order to identify my life areas or my life domains, I do this quick little exercise, and I'll leave a link to a PDF version of this exercise in the description box down below. And while you're down there, consider hitting that subscribe button. So the exercise is pretty simple. I just do a week at a glance, and I ask myself, what do I do in the mornings on each day of the week? What do I do during the day? What do I do in the afternoon time? That's after I come back from my 9 to 5. And then what is my nighttime routine? When I walk through a typical week, including what I'm doing all day long, it's gonna give me a good picture of the different roles that I play and the different areas of life that I engage with. For example, on a typical Monday, I get up at 5:30. I'm at the gym at 6 o'clock. I do my gym workout for about an hour. Then I shower, I pack for work, I commute over to work, I go to work, I come back, I pick up my kid, I do dinner, and then I work on my YouTube channel. Then I watch some TV with my husband, I do some Duolingo, and I go to bed. Now, walking through that entire day, you can already identify life areas. For example, I'm a wife and mother, I'm an employee, I'm a content creator, I'm someone that has to work on their health and fitness, I am somebody that's learning Japanese, that's a hobby or personal growth. So by walking through your typical week, you'll be able to identify your different life domains. And I think a week is a good snapshot to get a holistic vision of your life. When I walk through my most recent weeks in 2024, I identified these 8 life domains. So here on the Productivity Psychologist, I'm a content creator, so that's one of my major life areas. Then I have health and fitness, that includes things like what I eat, how I sleep, my exercise, taking care of myself physically. Then we have personal growth and development. That's things like having a consistent routine, learning Japanese, the things that I do for personal growth. Most adults will have some sort of life area of finances, things like budgeting, managing your budget, savings, everything related to adulting in the finance world. Then I have an area called physical environment. And for me, that's things like my house, my car, how things look, but also how they're being maintained. So things like household duties will go into that physical environment. Then I have friends and family. Those are my interpersonal relationships with my husband, with my son, with my friends, and with my family of origin. I have a 9-to-5 job, and I also think that potentially I would like to have this area of fun and recreation. If you go through your week and you identify some domains that are totally missing, this might be a good time to add that as well. So I noticed that I totally didn't have any time for fun, downtime, or recreation. Everything, all of my tasks were falling into these other life domains. So I thought that would be a good one to add. After you've identified your life domains, then you can move on to rating those life domains. Now, some of the clients that I work with are really against rank ordering some of those life areas. And it can get a little sticky when you're talking about things like parenting and how you feel about your family versus how you feel about other areas of your life. But I am constantly working on increasing my self-awareness and brutal honesty with myself. So I don't find it that difficult to rank order my life areas. It doesn't mean that these things aren't important, and it doesn't even mean that I'm not devoting time and energy to all of these areas. I clearly am. That's how I identified them in the first place. This is just an order of importance, because when you have a time conflict, when you have a money conflict, or when you have an energy conflict, this order of importance is going to help you deconflict that. Now let's move on to the assessment portion of this template. In the assessment portion, you're going to identify your ideal state in each of your life domains. So what does a 10 out of 10 look like in terms of your health and fitness? What does a 10 out of 10 look like in terms of your finances? Once you've identified your ideal state in each of your life domains, you can rate where you fall on a spectrum of 0 to 10, 10 being you're perfectly in line with your idealized state in that life area, and 0 being like you're doing the worst you possibly can in that area. So here you see my ratings. You see that fun and recreation is really low at 1, and health and fitness is at about a 3. My highest is a 8 in my physical environment. Finances are close behind at about a 7. Work was kind of hard because I'm at about an 8 in terms of an idealized state for the current position that I'm in, but I'm actively seeking another position, and everyone at work knows it as well. It's not that I'll be leaving my job, it's that I'm looking for a different project. So to rotate out of that director position and back into a different type of scientist position. So I landed in this middle kind of 5 out of 10 section. Then I have some reflection questions that are specific to annual reviews, and then I'm going to go back up to the top and do the questions that I do for all of my reviews. So what's my biggest accomplishment for the last year? It was probably hitting 11,000 on a video that I put up 2 months ago about a 90-day full life reset. My biggest regret was that I wasn't fully ready to keep going and capitalize on the popularity of that video. I did have several videos planned, but I would have liked to be more ready and more prepared for that 90-day chunk of time. The thing that has changed the most from last year is that I have a lot more work responsibilities since I moved into this director position. And I think what's contributed the most to some of the changes that I've had around work as well as around this YouTube channel is that I'm starting to see some success. I'm starting to see mastery at work. I'm starting to develop a community here on YouTube, and seeing that success is driving some of the changes that I've had over the last year. There were some challenges that I overcame, specifically relationship challenges that I think have gotten much better over the last year. And I still feel like I'm having issues getting into a good routine, managing my excitement, so kind of balancing that frenetic energy or balancing the thoughts that I have about what I want to do here on YouTube with the actions that I'm taking in terms of developing these videos. So those are some reflection questions. I also ask myself these few questions up here at every reflection point. So every week, every month, every quarter. So what were my largest accomplishments? I think keeping up in my new position as a director has been a major accomplishment. Being really happy and loving where I am in my relationship, focusing on what matters to me, kind of living a life consistent with my values, things that are important to me, and having this reverence for life and for understanding how my own mortality kind of influences what I do. I think some things went well. I did feel like I had a good final push at the end of the year here on YouTube. I'd like to do more pre-planned workouts. Ever since I started working with an online personal trainer, I've been way more consistent, and I've also been improving in terms of scheduling out my day and following that schedule. I still have challenges specific to my weight, fitness, and general self-confidence, since those things have been central to how I've identified myself over the last 10 or 15 years, and now I'm really trying to find my balance again. I think that I learned that sometimes I'll need help and I can reach out for that help when I need it. I want to do less perfecting and tweaking and more kind of getting things out in real time or closer to the time of production. And that's just in general, not just for my YouTube videos, but just for moving forward in life. Things like changing banks should take maybe a month or two, not 3 to 4 months of thought before there's action. I'm grateful that I'm in a place of personal satisfaction, and I'm stressed about just wanting to do more here in this YouTube space. So that's something that I've just been thinking about a little bit more. The next portion of this template asks you to identify your ideal state in 2025. And I had a little chat with ChatGPT to help me generate this idealized version of myself. So here's the prompt that I used. I said, help me describe my ideal life. And then I gave it all of my life domains. So I said, I'm a wife and mother. I work a full-time job. I'm a YouTube content creator. I'm someone who wants to keep their space tidy. I'm someone who wants to work out 6 days a week. I want to learn enough Japanese to get around Japan for an extended trip. I want to post 1 to 2 videos a week on my YouTube channel. So I took all of my life domains, and then I explained the idealized state of those life domains that we've already brainstormed and used to do our assessment. And I entered that into ChatGPT, and it gave me a description of my idealized life. So I've included that here in the template. And if you're interested in getting your own copy of this Notion template, I'm going to leave it in the description box down below. It's totally free, and I'll also include the prompt that I used for ChatGPT. So what I got was this ideal for 2025. I have this description of being family oriented, being organized and efficient, being health conscious, how this person has a set of purposeful routines, and all the different descriptions of that idealized person. This sounds great. So I added some additional prompts to ChatGPT so that I could get a day in the life of that person. And this is a YouTube challenge that's going around the interwebs, so you can give that a try as well. I asked ChatGPT what a day in the life of this person would look like, and then I tweaked it so that it can actually accommodate the life that I have. So it said like that person wakes up at 4:30, but I'm not gonna wake up at 4:30, so I'm gonna wake up at 5:30. Idealized person has breakfast in the morning and I don't. The idealized person drops off their kid at school and picks them up, but I only do pickups. So it just gave me a good kind of skeleton that I could use to tweak and see what AI thinks I should be structuring my day. So I edited that, and now I have a morning routine. Since I've been working on this all day, I'm getting a little hoarse, but this gives us an output for a morning, during the day, an evening routine, as well as a nighttime routine. I went through and tweaked this to meet my needs, and now I have an idealized day in the life. After that, these two charts are pretty easy to fill in now that we've done all the legwork. This ideal year right here just looks at what I want to accomplish is on the right. So I'd like to do 52 videos. I want to fit into my clothes. I want to have a solid routine. I want to have a 1 and 5 year financial plan. And on the left-hand side, I have my current state. So I did 28 videos this year, and next year I want to do more. So I want to do 52 videos. This year I've had no change in my weight, and next year I'd like to fit into my clothes. So this is another way of looking at where you are right now and where you want to be so that you can identify kind of how big that delta is. Once you know the difference between where you are and where you want to be, you can start to identify the specific systems that you need to put in place in order to get there. So for example, if I'm currently putting out 28 videos a year and I want to put out 52 videos, one system that might be helpful is scheduling out the specific parts of the video, the research, the writing, the filming, the editing, to specific times of my week. If I want to fit into my clothes, it might be helpful to have a set eating routine, to have a workout plan, and to have a specific bedtime. And that's part of just that general wellness area. Here's the second time where I consulted ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT, given this idealized person, what are their daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual routines? That gave me a lot of food for thought in terms of how to schedule my daily, weekly, and monthly routines. And this is what it gave me. These are going to be really specific to the idealized state that I have. But just some examples, it gave me a morning, a daytime, and an evening routine that was consistent with that idealized person that was described. We have some weekly routines here. How would you do financial management? How would you do family time and human connection and home maintenance on a weekly basis? And then it also gave me monthly, quarterly, and annual routines that would support that idealized state. I really liked doing this, and this is a totally new addition to my annual review. Now that I've gone through this entire process, I'm finally ready to set my yearly goals. If you're interested in my yearly goals for 2025, including how I'm gonna break them down by quarter, month, week, and day, check out this video right here.